One. All right. Very sorry again, ladies and gentlemen, for the technical difficulties, but we decided, it'd be best to promise everybody that we wanted to share this amazing content with you today. And so, really excited. Thank you guys again, Sherwin and Chad. Apologies again for
No
everything that's
worries.
going on.
No
But
worries. Technical glitches happen. It's all good. We're glad we can get the message out.
like I said, very excited to have you both on the cast today. And, the big question here, Sherwin, is what is the big announcement going on at CareLinx right now?
Wonderful. Okay, so the big announcement that went out this week was the launch of Nurse on Demand. It's actually something that we've been working on for over a year, but we thought it was appropriate now to finally announce it. And it really came out of solving a need that arose from the pandemic. And everyone knows CareLinx for the last 10 years as being a tech-enabled in-home care provider, providing non-medical in-home care support services, working with payers and providers. But what happened with the pandemic is a lot of our B2B partners, large health plans, at-risk providers, post-acute providers, specifically the skilled nursing facilities, reached out to us asking if we had clinical labor, because their nurses and staff were unfortunately getting sick, family members were getting sick, and therefore they would have to quarantine. And the surge of cases and the amount of cases that were coming in for COVID and all the patients they had to serve, they needed support. And so what we did is we looked into our network and realized we did have a lot of clinical providers who had interest in kind of meeting the needs of these patients. And what was beautiful was a lot of the technology that we developed specifically for in-home care on the non-medical side, we were able to retool and then quickly scale to meet the needs of all of the nursing labor of the partners that we had. And it was literally a business that was non-existent in January of last year. And then by the end of the year, we had over what is it, Chad? Close to 300,000 shift requests that came in. I think in January of this year, 2021, we had over 70,000 requests coming in. We have over 300, I think we said today, we looked 327 enterprise clients who are leveraging us for their nursing needs. And it's really exciting to see this growth. But most importantly, what makes the team really proud is we were able to step up and help solve all these frontline workers and to help all these patients in need. And there's a lot of this infrastructure that we've built to solve the COVID needs and the surges in the skilled nursing facilities. We have big plans, which we'll talk in this cast around how we're going to kind of leverage these capabilities that we developed for the future. But that's the big announcement. It's a huge announcement, and we're very glad that we're able to serve and support, and hopefully we get out of this COVID situation soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And the team really kind of working together on this it's been a long time in the making, which, is really huge. And with Nurse on Demand too, you brought us something really great, Sherwin, maybe you could kind of touch on a bit more is, the lines of businesses, that CareLinx is looking to partner with in the future, especially now with Nurse on Demand. Can you maybe go a bit more into depth about kind of where you're kind of seeing that in the future?
Yeah, so the one thing that COVID brought to light was the value for caring for patients in the home. And so telehealth has been around for decades, but it has taken a very long time for the systems to adopt it, physicians, and also consumers to get comfortable of using technology, remote clinical care management. But the pandemic, because everyone was quarantined, they weren't going into the hospitals, they still needed to speak to their doctors, to have checkups, wellness visits. They adopted technology, and they were able to get those routine clinical visits and safely at home. And for those people who needed care at home, we saw the healthcare industry now wanting, instead of having the patients come into the facility-based care setting, to receive that care safely in the home setting. I believe that these investments that have been made and kind of this change is systematic. and that the future of healthcare, if you hear about hospital at home, SNF at home models, we're at the very beginnings of this. And where we're positioning CareLinx, as we described earlier, we're amazing when it comes to non-medical providers. I think we're one of the few that can go nationwide, where you can have a non-medical provider that can be dispatched into the home and capture rich data for remote clinical teams. Now, with layering in our ability to have clinical resources, RNs, LVNs, NPs even, who can go into the home and provide additional clinical support to really amplify and make real these hospital home models and SNF at home models. That's where we're going here. And we have partners who are working with us on these new types of models. And really what we're trying to become is that one partner who you can scale across the non-medical all the way up to clinical care, where you can dispatch that care labor into the home on demand and get real-time data and coordination with the remote clinical teams.
Awesome. So you're really just talking about the whole spectrum here right now, literally basically from just an actual caregiver just to even more advanced to, like you said, the professional medical field, whether it be through, like you said, LVN, LPN nurses, things like that. And that's awesome to see because it really kind of now is the big question too, is I love how with CareLinx, our big picture and our big goals. And one of the biggest goals coming out of this was 1 million for nurse on demand, the big picture, 1 million nurses, medical professionals on our platform. And what kind of made you choose that 1 million number for 2022? What kind of made you, and what was the thought process there?
Yeah, so the premise behind CareLinx from the very beginning was you can use technology that can enable the labor to earn substantially higher wages with schedule flexibility, rather than having to be brokered or working at a traditional type of work environment. We believe that that mobility of labor is going to be growing more and more as a trend. They want to earn more. They want to be empowered to kind of take the shifts when they want them. Um, and then specifically on the million number, we have 500,000 today. We have a large programs that we're launching with some big payer relationships on, from in-home care support services to transitional care programs as well, that require us to build a broad, deeper bench of providers, because we're going to be dispatching no one's providing long-term care support services. All these programs and benefits are short intermittent interventions in
Yeah.
the home. And so for that to happen, you need to have a vast labor pool that you can quickly logistically deploy. And so we're shooting for by 2022 to have that 1 million provider mark. I think in 2020, we added over 100,000 providers on CareLinx. A big portion of those were clinical. And kind of seeing what we can do when we put a real effort behind it. I know we can achieve that number, but more so is now if we aggregate that number, we need to make sure we give them opportunities. And so that's where we're actually really focusing on the BD side, and where we can work with providers, payers, even home health agencies with the programs that they're running. Many traditional home health agencies are having their own staffing challenges. Our goal is not to get into that business. What we can do is we have the labor that can be dispatched, worked in through them, that we can help them deliver things more effectively. And so we're on a big initiative to just make sure once we aggregate these, we can effectively deploy. And we're seeing now with the contracts that we're closing,
Yeah.
we'll definitely be able to deploy that labor.
Because it's a huge need, especially during our current climate right now. It is a huge need, and especially too when we get like that number with the 1 million, a lot of it goes in strategic planning, operations. And Chad, you actually lead our tactical operations on Nurse on Demand. Do you mind going into depth about kind of your role and kind of the strategic planning that goes into Nurse on Demand?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited about this initiative, guys. I think it's really cool to where healthcare is going and obviously evolving inside the home. And one of the things that made this come apparent exactly what Sherwin stated is COVID and the pandemic. And once the pandemic happened, we had these nurses that were on our platform. And so what Sherwin has built, for the last 12 years, and obviously what the team has built, we were able to deploy within our top markets nursing labor to be able to help, during this pandemic. And what we quickly realized is this is another opportunity that we could obviously address, but also in the future. So we said, let's make this a business case. Let's go ahead and go all out. And so we really focused on California when we first launched, because that's where we had the most labor pool, but also the most demand need as well from the nursing shortage from the skilled nursing home side. So we focused there. And then obviously we expanded to other markets where we saw the most benefit, obviously with Texas and Illinois, where our labor pool was at. And so from there, though, from an operational side, and we just launched in our press release, we are looking to expand this nationwide by 2022. So we're really excited from the operational, expectations and strategy from our side. And, really it's been all the work that Sherwin and his team has done years past on all the non-medical side, but also building up the liquidity in the pool that we have. And then we were able to deploy that within these settings very, very quickly. And then, like I said, we quickly realized there was a business opportunity here, and we quickly expanded upon it.
Yeah, and that's awesome too, because then, a lot of this is kind of what's reminding me to a lot of is just the adaptability of it, but also adapting to current climates, adapting to the scenarios that we're being faced with. So really, Chad, what sets us apart? What sets us apart from other, whether it be staffing, whether it be home care, whether it be medical professionals? What sets CareLinx apart from everybody else, from the competition?
Yeah. So when we launched this business, we were doing it based on, we saw there was a need, and we obviously rose to that challenge and just started placing nurses inside skilled nursing facilities. But what we quickly realized is on-demand dispatch was a really quick turnaround time that they needed to have these nurses inside these skilled nursing facilities. So what we realized with our technology and obviously being able to have a call center available, we were able to dispatch nurses within a 24-hour period to be able to fulfill these shifts. And our fulfillment rate went up over 70%. So we're really excited, setting a 70% goal. But we also think that number will be able to continuously rise based on more HCPs and more providers coming onto our platform. And so we're really excited about what the future holds, within this business model, because to Sherwin's point, a lot of these HCPs want flexibility. They want to have flexible schedules. They want to be able to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so this gives them an opportunity to be able to do that, but also work in a setting that they want to work in too. We have some HCPs who want to work in skilled nursing facilities, some that want to work in hospitals, some that want to work in the home setting. So now we're being able to poll our HCP pool and see, okay, where do you want to be deployed? And then we can put them in that category, in that pool base, that we can actually deploy them on demand anytime that they want to be deployed and have that flexible work schedule. So that's what's really exciting and unique about what we're doing, and what sets us apart from the competition, just because of that. And our technology enables that.
And one thing, just to build off what Chad was saying, that was interesting, is when you think about the problem that we were solving initially, which was a individual family in their house needing to have a caregiver being dispatched to, which is dispersed. I mean, we're nationwide. That's a lot different logistical problem than a concentrated demand within a hospital setting, a skilled nursing facility setting. So when this opportunity arose, we solved the harder problem. And then when it came to, hey, can you do this? We saw we had the labor, and then it was just like boom, 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 boom. It was a lot easier from a logistical standpoint to fulfill, just because it's a very high concentrated demand within one building. And there's a lot that it's great. It's a very efficient use case, which is why we were able to scale it so fast.
Yeah. And I love how you guys are going to depth too about there's two parties really that it really benefits, which is the patient, especially during this current climate with COVID-19, getting the care that they need, making sure we maximize that their best health possible, as well as the nurses. Chad, to your point, even where they're flexible, where they're needed, their location, especially Sherwin, like you said, nationwide, it's crucial. And the one thing that really stands out to me, especially while working on this project, one time for one more question, is actually, throughout this project, we have been so dedicated, and this is kind of personal a lot for us. And, with Nurse on Demand, I know with CareLinx, we're taking that next step, but, But personally, what does this service mean to you? What does this really mean now that this is live? Now that, this is going to help make a difference, for the positive, not only just for the business line, just for, society, just in general.
I'll take it first. I'm going to kind of break my answer into two parts. Sorry. So the first kind of goes back to the beginning, where I'm really excited that healthcare is going where our vision has always been, and that is into the home. And healthcare is moving into the home, and we are now enabling ourselves to become that partner. A lot of the large partners that we have on the healthcare industry, payers and providers, the reason why they trust us is we are scalable nationwide under one company. They can have continuity of service delivery in every single market where the member and patient has the exact same experience. But then now we have the ability to have the broad breadth from the non-medical up to the whole clinical. And that truly is going to be game changing when you couple that with remote patient monitoring and telehealth. Just as in the olden days, the doctor came into the home, the doctor is now coming into the home digitally. But you're just as when you go into the acute care setting, it's the nursing staff that really cares for the patient on an ongoing basis. The same thing is going to be happening in these hospital at home models and these SNF at home models. I'm really excited that we are setting ourselves up to be one of the great partners to really enable that transition of healthcare to home. And from the nursing staff, but then also just the CNAs and the social workers or the community health workers, companion caregivers that are really helping them with their functional needs. So that's exciting. On the personal side, the whole reason why CareLinx was started was my sister had MS, multiple sclerosis. My uncle had ALS. And I saw all the difficulties my family went through struggling to find the right care providers. And a lot of that was driven by these frontline heroes were getting paid minimum wage. And they would just be churning to make a standard of living for themselves and their family. Through the technology of CareLinx and other models like ours, what's beautiful is we're really enabling those frontline workers to earn a livable high wage. And so what we're seeing through CareLinx is 25% higher wages than they're traditionally getting, and having that schedule flexibility, empowering them to really extract the value that they are providing to society and the healthcare ecosystem. And so that's what gets me excited is the foundational premise of CareLinx is how do we enable and empower that labor to really become that extender into the home, but then getting paid for the value they provide to the entire ecosystem.
Awesome.
That's awesome, Sherwin. And I agree with Sherwin as well. And I'll do two as well. My first one is, I was in the skilled nursing home industry for over 12 years before I came on to CareLinx. And, for us during this time, especially Nurse on Demand, it was an awesome, accomplishment for CareLinx to be able to mobilize so quickly with what's already been built here, right? To be able to mobilize and to be able to deploy where they needed the resources. I mean, at that time, skilled nursing home industry got hit really hard with COVID, and staffing challenges were really hard. I mean, I talked to a lot of administrators, a lot of CEOs. They were struggling. They didn't know what to do, and they were having staffing challenges left and right. And so for us to be able to provide that at a time of need really means a lot. But also, to Sherwin's point, to be able to offer these HCPs higher wages to be able to go in and provide the care that's needed to vulnerable seniors, I mean, was really, really exciting, for me. So I was, fortunate enough to come on CareLinx over a year ago, and it's been a blessing ever since. And to be able to see this business scale from a non-medical side now getting into the clinical side is just so cool to see. So that's number one. And then, to Sherwin's point on the second one, this is also to where healthcare is moving. So from a personal side, I'm excited to be able to see where healthcare is shifting, right? And so for me, I love to be able to see that we're driving care to the home, and we're providing the necessary tools that's needed to be able to get care where you live. And so we know that's where it's going. But now we're obviously making a platform where we can have over 1 million HCPs and caregivers on platform that can be deployed at any time for any type of care that's needed. And so that's just encouraging and exciting for everyone, right? Because now
Hmm.
obviously get the care where you want it. And most of the time, families want to stay home and they want to be able to be in their own place where they, where they live. So that's what I'm excited about, just to be able to change the face of healthcare and also to be able to adapt, to all these new changes that are happening and be able to give providers and payers an opportunity to be able to deploy resources with our labor and new programs and innovative programs that they're looking to accomplish and looking to do. And actually, we've been giving them an opportunity to be able to do that now. So that's just what's really exciting. It's kind of where we're kind of leading some of these charges within the healthcare side, and it's fun and encouraging to see. So.
Yeah, and that's awesome. You brought up a good point too, Chad. For me as well, the two for me is honestly the younger generation as well is getting more involved in telehealth, digital health, and things like that, where you never really would expected it, where, maybe they're not the target demographic, but the awareness is really there that they're going to actually be thinking about this. This is, like Sherwin, to your point, the future of healthcare, absolutely, where it's now is a time like everybody get really involved. And for me with Nurse on Demand, that is just really huge. But a second part too, a little personal part, what drew me really to CareLinx was my grandfather was actually in, a home. He was surrounded by, CNAs, nurses, things like that. And that's what drew me actually to CareLinx itself. And so the personal side, just being able to drive that where someone can get just an amazing positive experience with whether it be in-home care or non-medical care or, professional medical care itself is just, someone to be a part of that is just really special. And I know the CareLinx family, I know Sherwin, Chad, you too, and yourself, you really take it, you really run with it, and you really make sure it's the best quality as possible. And that's just what I think, just the CareLinx way. That's just really what it's all about. And it's just really awesome now to get this out, get this live, and honestly guys too, without any technical difficulties too with with this with this one.
All good. All
No, but absolutely. But that was the questions we had, and I also just wanted to say thank you, got both again for hopping on the cast. It was here this time, so it was all good. But really again, thank you guys again for all your hard work and dedication, and really excited to check back in here and kind of see the progress as we move on in 2021, and hopefully really kind of set that goal for 2022.
Beautiful. And just last thing is, if anyone has any questions, they want to learn more, reach out to us. We happy to just give you guys really more insight. We just touched the surface of what we're really doing here and why we structure the things we do. So we're happy to engage with all of you to kind of give you more insights on how this all works and how we fit to help healthcare improve.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you guys again so much, and I hope you guys have a really great weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.